Thank you, Diane, for that warm welcome. I'm going to keep my comments brief as well because I think we want to engage with you today. A couple of things I want to say at the start, though. I really do want to join with Diane in thanking the FSB for all that they do right across Northern Ireland. We were talking earlier about the regionality of Northern Ireland and how you have to get the balance right, whether you're a politician or indeed whether you're representing small businesses right across Northern Ireland as well, and that's a critical piece of work. But whenever I have an issue in relation to promoting small businesses, I just lift the phone, as I did indeed, Roger will tell you, last week. And we did some PR around helping a local town reinvigorate itself after a difficult time. So thank you, Roger, for helping me on that occasion. I really do see the Federation as being in partnership with ourselves in working for small businesses. Obviously, there will be times when you will be our critical friend as opposed to just our friend, but of course we welcome that too, because I often find that the criticism is a constructive one, and we never mind having a debate with you if it's done in a way which can lead, as it has done on many occasions, as Simon has pointed out, to better policy. I do think it was good to hear from Simon about some of the initiatives that the executive, and particularly this party, has spearheaded over this past couple of years, because we all know that eaten bread is soon forgotten, and it is good to hear about those initiatives, because we have taken a lot of initiatives to help small businesses in particular, but also to look to the future in building Northern Ireland up to be the open regional economy, part of the United Kingdom that we want to see it be in the future. And of course, that brings us to this very important sector, the agri-food sector. And you've often heard me say it, when I come into this job, there wasn't too much enthusiasm about the ag sector. It was a bit down in the dumps. People were talking about sunset industries and all the rest of it. Well, there's been a bit of a transformation over that period of time. The agri sector has, as we've heard, continued to grow in a very substantial way over this past 5-6 years, at a time when other industries have been really struggling. I put that down to a number of things. I put it down to resilience of Ulster people, number one. I also put it down to research and development and not being afraid to do things differently and to look for new markets and new ways of doing things. But also, I would like to think that one of the reasons why we continue to grow is because of the very close relationship that this sector has with politicians right across the piece, but also particularly with ourselves in this party. And it was one of the reasons why myself and the Agriculture Minister set up the Industry Strategy Board, which brought forward the Going for Growth strategy. Now, that strategy has been with us now for a couple of months, and I'm very pleased to tell you that I have in my hand the executive paper, which is the response to Going for Growth. It's a very substantial piece of work, a very comprehensive piece of work, but it's now in circulation and something that I hope will be in the executive in the very near future. We know there's quite a lot in that document. There's 118 recommendations with some very stringent targets that we would like to see being met by the industry by 2020. Grow sales by up to 60% to over 7 billion. Grow employment by 15% to over 115,000. Grow sales outside Northern Ireland by 75% to 4.5 billion, and grow by 60% to 1 billion the total value of products and services. Now, the majority of those recommendations will be accepted, and that's certainly the recommendation from the two ministers involved. And indeed, some of the recommendations have already been accepted and have been actioned, so we haven't been waiting around, as some people may think, for executive endorsement. We have moved ahead on some of the recommendations, and of course one of those is in relation to the Agri-Loan Scheme, a scheme which was brought together by some clever thinking in DFP. There you are, Simon, there's your compliment of the day in relation to the use of some very complicated funds, how we could use them in Northern Ireland by bringing in the banks And here's something you may not have thought you'd hear from me today. I do want to thank our banks for their working with us to find a way forward for a particular problem in this instance. And the first of the agri-food loan scheme, of course, is looking at the poultry sector. And one of their issues was in relation to security, and because it's an intensive sector, they were having difficulty finding security, which the banks needed, given where they were, and they were having real problems finding money and finding the finance to grow their facilities. And of course, the poultry sector now wants to grow. They want to grow in a very tangible way because of what happened in relation to horse meat, and the fact that many of our UK supermarkets now want to source locally in the UK their poultry. So there's an opportunity presented, and we felt that there was a need to try and find a way to access finance for those growers, those broilers. So we worked together, we found a solution, and the outcome is the £20 million which Simon has accessed for us in relation to our agri-food loan scheme. So it's the first step in the scheme. We will, of course, be watching to see how successful it will be, and of course, we are saying that we may well roll it out into other sectors. I've had discussions already with the pig sector, and indeed the arable sector, and I see Thomas Gilpin down there. The arable sector has already been in touch as well. So we will look at that and hopefully be able to roll it out across other sectors. Another key element, and one, of course, that I'm very keen of, is the extension of the gas network to the west of Northern Ireland. That will be a real enabler for some of our bigger industries across Northern Ireland, and we're very much looking forward to the licence being granted for the gas extension to the west in the near future, and I want to see that in place by 2016 so that we can have that new and available source of energy for the west of the province as well, and I think that's only right that that should be the case. Diane has mentioned that I'm just back from Dubai. Indeed I am, where we had, I was calling it a planes and prawns trade exhibition. We were away with the air sector at the Dubai Air Show, 17 companies out there, from the very large, of course, Bombardier, to the very small precision engineering companies, looking for opportunities in new markets. And then we had a seafood exhibition as well. And I must say I was very proud of our seafood stand. It was one of the best stands, well I would say that, wouldn't I, at the Dubai CFEX exhibition. Very pleased that Rooney Fish, Glenarm Salmon and Walter Ewing were there with me, and I think they had some very good feedback. So it is about, the agri-food sector should not be seen, this is the point I want to make very strongly, in isolation. It's very much part of our plans in the economic strategy to grow in relation to exports in new and emerging markets, and that's one of the reasons we were there in the Middle East. And it's also very important to increasing the number of jobs available across Northern Ireland. Of course, the agri sector is right across Northern Ireland for our young people, and to encourage them to see agriculture as a very sustainable and good way of life for the future. And I must say our initiative under the Jobs Fund has been critical in providing support for people, whether it's in processing or indeed in other ways through the Jobs Fund, and the Jobs Fund has been a huge success for us right across Northern Ireland, so much so that we've reached our programme for government target in respect of the Jobs Fund 18 months before the end of the PFG period, but you'll not read about that in the press. So can I just say again that we have tried to listen, we have tried to react to issues and concerns that have been brought to us in a meaningful way, but we can do that because we do have a team at Westminster, and very often we will go to our Westminster colleagues when we need access to ministers in DEFRA, for example. We will use our Westminster links there, but of course in Brussels as well. And I do want to pay tribute to Diane, who has been more than helpful to me in my ministerial capacity, whether it's in terms of the rescue package for the PMS, which again is eating bread, soon forgotten, but it was a very traumatic time at that time to try and get that through the European system, and I do want to thank you for that, Diane, and also in relation to our negotiations on select financial assistance to make sure that that selective financial assistance was available right across Northern Ireland. And for those of you who don't know, that means the capacity of Invest Northern Ireland to give grants out right across Northern Ireland remains, because we were able to negotiate that at a European level, even though some in Westminster felt that maybe that wasn't the right thing for Northern Ireland. We very much believed that we needed to keep that tool in our armoury, particularly in the absence of any movement in relation to corporation tax. So there's very real and tangible work that goes on between Diane and ourselves here in Stormont and through Westminster as well. So thank you, Diane. We look forward to working with you again after the elections next year, again in a meaningful way, and I'm looking forward to the debate and the questions that no doubt will flow this morning. Thank you.